3 numbers, that's all you need to travel in time. 278. That's how many miles are on this 1979 Beetle convertible. Coming up next, on the Fast Lane car, we take a trip back to 1979. 278, I feel bad driving it.
So this is a 1500.
Yep, 1.5 liter.
1.5, exactly.
Air cooled.
Yeah, this one is air cooled, but special about it was the first cars with the fuel injection, which was only available in America.
Really?
Yeah.
So the rest of the world had carburetors.
Exactly. Exactly.
Where is this car from?
Well, this car was built in Germany, as the others were, but
Yep.
it was specifically built for the American market.
Right, but you said this one's from the museum, right?
Exactly, yeah. It is that in the former times there was a company called Carman.
Yep, I remember Carman. Yep.
Carman were the ones to produce all Beetle convertibles and later on also the Golf convertible. So they had the factory in Osnabrück. And when they went bankrupt 2 years ago, Volkswagen took over, and today Volkswagen Osnabrück produces the new Golf Cabriolet. So the history goes on into the future.
What comes around goes around. Now I noticed this one only has 267 miles on it.
Yeah, because it has been mostly sitting at auto shows and museum. However, it drives fine, and it's a lot of fun, and you can hear the original sound of the Beetle. We started out with this model in 1949, and in January 1980 they stopped production because the Golf, the successor of the Beetle, was so much more convincing to people at that time. And now we actually have 2 generations of fans. The one kind, they want the practical Golf, and that's why we produce the Golf Cabriolet for Europe. Others want the bigger car, that's why we have an EOS for them.
All right, driving the 79 Beetle convertible is quite a trip. There we go. Oh, and you get the really annoying loud buzz to tell you to put your seatbelt on. Remember those days? Starts up right away. Goes in gear rather roughly. I think today I would say it's notchy if I were reviewing this car. The steering is, well, vague. Does not even begin to describe it. You certainly feel like you're part of the elements. I mean, the steering wheel is tiny compared to today's standards. The engine is loud, and of course that classic boxer BWA. And the acceleration, oh, whatever that is, 50 horsepower is, well, sort of there. Oh my God, the brakes are non-existent. And the car squeaks, but it's so much fun. And the reason it's so much fun is because you live this car. You can smell the engine, you can hear the clanking of the window. The steering, while it's completely vague, I mean there's probably a good 2 inches of play in it, is directly hardwired to the road, if not the steering wheel. And the shifter, once you get going, it's fun. It's also tiny compared to today's car. This is a very small car. I think intimate would be a good word to use, but tiny is also appropriate. Oh, that's brakes just don't work. But you know what? Once you get the hang of it, and once you get past the time capsule effect, you see how much charm these cars had. and probably that's the best word, charming. It really is charming. It just completely charms you into wanting to drive this along the beach all day. Plus they look cool. So by definition, you'll look cool driving it, because this is certainly not a luxury car, it's certainly not a sports car, and it's certainly not a family sedan. It's a fun car, and that's it. It's all about fun. How long did you build it in Mexico, do you know?
Yeah, until 2003, but only the closed version, so there was no convertible.
Okay, all right. And if we look at so this is basically the last of the previous generation, right? This is the 79, so we're very close to the end.
Exactly.
Were there any improvements besides the fuel injection to the engine? I mean, if you look at that engine, is that the same engine that would have been basically architecturally in the 49?
Well, they were all boxer engines,
Yeah.
so the layout itself is still the classical layout. Of course, people had different needs to that time. So think of it, the first generation came out with 24.5 horsepower.
Okay.
You know, nobody measures half a horsepower nowadays, right?
Yeah.
So then the last versions, they had 50 horsepower. And personally, I know some people that made use of Porsche engines to that time with 85 horsepower. Of course, with 85 horsepower in a fairly light car, you were kind of the king at the traffic light, right?
Yeah, so this one has 50 horsepower.
This one has 50, right?
And what was the fuel economy, do you remember?
I don't, out of my head, no. I don't.
I bet you it's pretty good.
Not that good, because the Boxer engine was dismissed later on also for its fuel economy. If you consider the oil crisis in 1973,
Yeah.
that was the downfall of the Beetle sales, and Volkswagen was in need to come up with a modern successor. Four-line engine, four-cylinder inline engine,
straight line, yeah.
and not a Boxer anymore. So Porsche kept up the system with Boxers and refined it, of course, also because of their brand history. But Volkswagen was much more successful in the mass market with a straight four-cylinder.
Now, when I was in high school, 1982, a friend of mine had a Beetle.
Yeah.
And I used to ski patrol, and we used to go take it skiing. And I had a very special job in this car. You know what that was?
Yeah.
My job was to scrape away the ice
Okay.
from the inside of the windshield, because the heater didn't work very well. So all the
Exactly.
condensation from our breath would create a layer of ice on the inside of the car, and I had to scrape it away.
Right, but I mean, that's physics. If the engine is in the back, you know, you need a lot of force to bring it to the front.
The heat,
But if the
yeah.
engine is in the front,
Yeah.
no problem, because the drive will automatically get it into the cabin, right?
And this was air cooled too. So if you're going skiing, it's obviously cold, and it's not going to get very warm. So this is a lot of fun to drive. It's teeny tiny though. I mean, me and you are really close together here.
Exactly.
It's a very compact car. And I'm
it's
sure
a great date car though, right?
It is a great day car. And I'm sure by today's standards, it's not very safe, right? There's no airbag.
No ESP, no nothing, no, not even ABS, right?
Yeah, and not much to stop any crunching, except for the trunk, which is in the front.
Exactly.
Hey,
But nevertheless, I mean, the Beetles always had a frame underneath.
Yeah.
So when it comes to side protection, it wasn't that bad.
how many of these were built?
Well, yeah,
Beetles in
we've,
general.
we've had in the first generation
Yeah.
330,000 open ones.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Of course, which is nothing against the 21.5 million
million altogether.
that have been produced altogether. So to drive a Beetle convertible was always something special. Of course, it was more expensive as well. And then in the second generation, which was called the new Beetle,
Yeah.
right from 2002 to 2010, it was another 236,000 models.
So about 500,000.
More than that, yeah.
Yeah. But
Actually,
give or take.
almost.
Yeah.
600,000 almost, yeah.
Yeah, but these were always iconic ones, the top, the convertibles.
Exactly. So
And was-
we said the history just has to go on, and we need a third generation. We need a new Beetle convertible with all the whistles and bells that customers expect nowadays, and that's how we've come up with this fine product now.
And was America always your biggest market?
Yeah, always has been.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you could say about half of all cars built in the first generation, also with the new Beetle, were sold in North America.
You know what? It doesn't get much more fun than driving a 1979 Beetle convertible along the beach in California. I have to say, I'm the luckiest man in the world. As always, this is Roman reporting for the Fast Lane Car. Please subscribe for a new car video every day. All right, today I would not put up with that if I were reviewing it. See you guys next time. I've got a lot of beach and a lot of sunshine to catch today. Ciao.